All right, so let's just start today. There will still be people joining us as we come through, and that's just fine. We will be recording the webinar and sharing the link afterwards. So welcome everyone to this digital seminar, Level Up Your Food Safety Career, your pathway to becoming a certified SQF practitioner. I'm Wendy Edwards of Exemplar Global, and I'm your co-host and moderator for this webinar. Now, before we get going, we do want this to be interactive, so please, if you're watching this live, feel free to pop questions in the chat for us. We will either answer them in the chat or we'll turn them over to the panelists to answer those questions for you. If you're watching the session on demand, you can still ask questions. Just email us at info@exemplarglobal.org and we will get those questions out to the right people to help you out. So our co-host today is Kristie Grzywinski, apologies Kristie, I'll be practicing, Grzywinski, and she is the Director of Technical Services from SQFI, and Kristie is going to introduce herself and welcome our panelists. Over to you, Kristie.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you so much. Yes, I am Kristie Grzywinski from SQFI. Wendy and I, supported by our organizations and two very important stakeholder groups, designed and developed this Certified SQF Practitioner credential. I'm very passionate about creating innovative and impactful learning programs that empower people to reach their full potential. And this credential program just pulls together everything I love doing and everything that I believe in. However, it was Wendy's personal experience as an SQF practitioner that was the impetus for this credential. So we are both very thrilled to be here with you today. Next slide. Here's our learning objectives for today. As learning professionals, we wanted to be sure that you had the learning objectives. So thank you and welcome to you all for joining us here today. Next slide. And let me introduce to you our certified SQF practitioners that have joined us here today. So up at the top left, we have Missy Hyobi. Oh, see, I tried practicing. She is with Quality Systems Manager with Rise Baking Company. Sorry. Next, we have Katie McEwen, Quality Assurance Manager at Lidworks. Down on the bottom left, we have Pat Dvorak, Compliance Manager with Cedar Grove Warehouse. And last but certainly not least, Brooke Rayberg, Director of Admin and Quality Assurance at Homeland Baking and Mitchell Sausage Rolls. Oh, snap, these all sound so good. Welcome to you all. So Wendy and I will be doing just a little overview of the credential, give you some background, but the rest of the time we're going to be hearing from our SQF professionals, who are SQF practitioners, who are going to be answering some of those questions that you may have. Next slide. So real quick, I thought I'd kick it off with an overview of the credential in case we had several of you on the call who were not familiar with the credential. The Certified SQF Practitioner credential was developed by SQFI in collaboration with Exemplar Global, and it's designed to provide a consistent framework for those in the role of SQF practitioner or aspiring to that role. So what does that mean? It means that when someone earns this credential, they've shown that they have the skills to implement, maintain, and continually improve an SQF food safety system at any site in any sector. And as Wendy has said in the past, you can now take your reputation with you. This credential can demonstrate your knowledge, your skills, your abilities, your ability to function as an SQF practitioner. This certification is completely voluntary, but it's intended to be a part of a clear professional path for the SQF practitioners. It helps define the core skills and knowledge needed for success, and it offers a structured way to grow professionally. So you may not meet the qualifications now, but it puts you along that pathway to build new skills, gain more experience, and planning your next career move. So what I really want to highlight before I stop talking full stop is I want to highlight the bigger picture. This credential helps build trust in our food safety systems. It shows that as practitioners, you're committed to high standards, continuous learning, and professional excellence. And that's something that benefits everyone, from the sites you support to the customers and consumers that interact with your company and products. So again, like I said, I'll stop talking and share the microphone, share the screen with our practitioners. So Katie, I'm going to put you on the spot. Katie, walk us through your preparation strategy. How far out did you start? And what resources or courses provided or proved most helpful to you?
Actually, I had reviewed the information, wasn't sure right away if I was going to do it or not, or when I was going to do it. But we had a validation audit, and after completing that and doing well with that, I felt very confident with my skills and the education that I had, and that's when I decided to go forward with it. Most of the education that I have for this was the required courses for an SQF practitioner. I didn't really have to have any additional training or study to complete this. Just the guide that was provided and the information that I already had from doing the job.
Sweet. That's exactly what this is all about, is your own knowledge and experience as an SQF practitioner. And it's not necessarily all about taking more courses. So Missy, did you want to add anything to that? How did you prepare, or how did you start? How did you, once you learned about this credential?
The first thing that interested me was, to have, the certificate to take with me. I liked that. I thought that would, help me in my journey, in my career. What my work appreciated was also the fact that there would be early access to the SQF 10 edition. They thought that was a wonderful investment. So based on that, I had also recently taken an advanced HACCP course. So I'd kind of had a pre-test going, if you will. But then in order to be ready for this specific test, I had an audit a few weeks before and discussed it with the auditor who was there. And then also I went on ChatGPT and talked to them and had them help me create study materials and a practice test. And that was actually rather helpful. I mean, like I said, it was, if I wouldn't have known the information, that wouldn't have helped, but it was just a wonderful reinforcement.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious to know, do you remember the prompt that you used in ChatGPT? Will it help me?
I asked it to act as my trainer.
Okay.
To give it a role, and then, like I said, to create study materials, and then to create a multiple choice question for those materials.
That's nice. See, that's a perfect use of that. I really appreciate you sharing that with us, and that's a great use of the AI tools. When it came to the test, I know we might be asking some of these questions out of order, but when it comes to the test, I think we had a slide on that, so that's why I'm bringing it up. What did you find? I lost my question. What did you find was your biggest challenge you faced while preparing for the test or for the credential in general? And you know what? Let me ask that of Katie.
As far as preparation, it was actually it was right before the test where I had a little hiccup, if you will. It was dealing with the proctor. That's something I haven't done before, having a proctored exam. And they're telling you no cell phones and no materials, no nothing. And then as soon as we started, the proctor wanted me to have my cell phone. And what they have you do is set it up next to you, filming during the test, so they can ensure that you're not being, prompted or anything, or viewing materials during the test.
Right.
But I had decided to take the test at home where it was nice and quiet, and was not prepared for that. And my biggest hurdle was trying to prop up my cell phone. So be prepared. And also I'm using a computer at home that I don't typically use. I do everything on my cell phone, or I do my computer at work. So I realized that you need to be familiar with your equipment, because I had camera issues right off. We couldn't get the camera working, and I had to go through several settings to find it. The proctor was very patient, but it was a little bit of time consuming. So I would say for everyone, be familiar with your equipment, and have your cell phone ready and have a way to prop it up, because that will be a part of the requirement for the test.
Okay, good
Oh,
to
and
know.
also
Really.
I wanted to add that at the end of the test,
Yeah.
the number that pops up is your raw score and not your final score.
Okay.
Good point, Katie. Good point.
Make sure you wait until you receive your final results from Exemplar Global and SQFI, because you'll think that you did not do well if you look at that raw score. And that's what I did. And I wondered, how did I do so poorly? I felt so confident with this. And then, I find out I actually did fairly well. So it was one thing.
High five.
Don't let that score be shocking. It's just your raw score of the questions answered.
Okay.
Great insight.
Those are all very helpful. I love the, like, let's get real about this. This was the biggest hurdle.
Really, the proctor
Seriously,
was.
that's very calming to know that your biggest hurdle was, wasn't studying, it wasn't, getting the documents in. It was really just the logistics of the exam. And you did provide some valuable information here. It is a proctored exam. This is a true certification exam. It's assessing your knowledge, skills, and ability. I put some information on the screen. I won't read through that, but it is a 60-question multiple choice exam, and that's spelled out in some of the materials that provided. You know what? I just saw a question pop up, and it's a perfect question. It is this just the implementing SQF systems exam? No, it's not. It's not at all. And the information about what's on the exam is found in the exam guide. And I have that here in front of me. So it does call out what is on the exam and a little bit about your preparations for the exam. The other thing that's going to really help you prepare for the exam, to understand what is on the exam, is the self-assessment. I'm just showing it here, but I believe that the links were put in the chat there. So it gives you a list of all the knowledge and skills that are going to be covered on the exam. Pat, did you want to add anything to that? I see you nodding in agreement.
Well, yeah, sure. I remember looking through the self-assessment, and I actually kind of used that as my study guide. And it worked. I mean, it covered all the bases. I really didn't think that there was any surprises with the test. I will add that they had me take off my smartwatch, put it in view with its face down. So yeah, it was very thorough proctor.
Nice.
Yeah, they do have you move your camera all around the room so they can see. So that would have been, they saw your watch.
Yeah, made sure that there was nobody off to the side with flashcards or whatever.
Yeah.
That's great. It is a true test of your knowledge. It really is. So, then, you can say to someone, this really means a lot, yeah, there's a little bit of instructions in the exam guide about the room and space preparation. Go ahead, Wendy.
I was just going to say, can I throw a question at Brooke? Because I'm just curious. What was the moment or the business need that kicked you off, that made you decide to take this credential and to go ahead and do the test?
Well, that's a great question. I decided to do this test because we had some really great opportunities coming up with some new clients, and we've been SQF certified for years. We're on unannounced audits, but we thought, what a great way to show our potential clients that, you know, we know what we're doing. So I learned about this and I approached my business owner and I said, hey, I think this is a great idea. I think it could be beneficial for us. Would you want to go in with me on this? And I'll pay for half and you pay for half. And they said, we'll pay for everything. This has, of course, it has so much value. We'd love to be able to show our clients who we have on staff. And so that was just, for me, it was a great sign that we're moving in the right direction.
Definitely. Thank you for that. What was your experience in that area, Pat?
So this was something that I had been considering for a while. I had been in the food industry for quite some time, more on the operations side, not so much on with the quality hat on. But I mean, the two work hand in hand anyway, operations and quality. So I thought, well, why not go ahead and do this? And I was still hemming and hawing just a little bit, and I was recently accepted this position. And I was actually in the middle of an audit, and I was just chatting with the auditor in between. And he was like, well, heck yeah, why don't you do it? I mean, yeah, you certainly know what you're doing. So we got through with the audit and everything, and started looking at where or how I was going to do this, and came across the online availability of the Exemplar program, and just went for it. It was literally like 2 weeks after our audit concluded, I was certified.
That's awesome. That's so good, Pat, to hear that you just went for it. I think that's probably the key here. I think is just to do it. I think, but have confidence in the knowledge that you have as practicing practitioners. Kristie,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at some of the questions here, and maybe Pat, you can expand on this as well. It's just asking if you're already a certified practitioner, or is the test required to become an SQF practitioner? So can we just clarify what the difference is between a practitioner and then where Pat's gone on and become a certified practitioner? Kristie, I'll get you to start on that.
Certainly. Yes, certainly. I thought I heard you say my name. Okay. Yes. So yes, this is a voluntary credential. It is above and beyond what is required by the SQF code. So the requirements for the SQF code remain. They will remain in edition 10 as well. So right now they're in the system elements 2114 and 2115. And so the auditor assesses that as part of the audit, assesses you as the practitioner against that criteria requirements in 2114 and 2115. This is a way to demonstrate, it isn't a stamp, but it is a way to demonstrate that you have that knowledge. You have that knowledge of how to implement and maintain and continuously improve an SQF system. So there is an exam that is required as part of this credential. So you're demonstrating your knowledge and your skills through your experience and through this examination. Anything else, Wendy, that I might have missed or?
I think just building on that really, and to Pat's point, right, is that you start off when you're an SQF practitioner and you self-declare. You self-declare that you are the SQF practitioner for the site. Your management appoint you as such. This is different. This is an independent verification that your skills are what you say they are through an examination, through checking your experience and your employment history. So this is a globally recognized independent personnel certification, and it's a whole different level to just self-declaring. So they are, the self-declared is fine, and that's what's required by the code, but this is a step up for those that want to be recognized as professionals in their field. So I'm just having a look to see what else we've got here. There's a question around whether or not this reflects the score in your certificate, and I think we've discussed this previously, and to be clear, this is for you as an individual, and this was the reason that we wanted to have this personnel certification is so that you as an individual can be recognized. It isn't a reflection necessarily of your management system and your operations that you are working for. So I wonder, Missy, is there any thoughts that you would have there on just clarifying how this might have been for you with auditing and becoming certified, and the impact that that may or may not have on your management systems?
For me, part of the bulk of one of the large parts of my job is I am the internal company auditor. So I go and I do a mock audit across, my company has 18 different sites. And so this, gives me credibility when I talk to sites and, review their documentation, when I discuss findings with management at times, who sometimes can be resistant. But I think, when you come in as a certified practitioner, it gives you, that extra step to be on to say, see, I am knowledgeable. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not, I'm just not somebody off the street. I have all these things after my name that show I know what I'm doing. And I think it helps on making, people hear you maybe a little easier and a little better the first time around.
That's awesome. Thank you, Missy. Brock, was there anything that you wanted to add onto that?
Yeah, I would say that it is definitely exactly what Missy described. And so we had an experience recently where I hired an SQF practitioner, and we interviewed, everybody interviewed well, hired them on, and about a week into it, realized that although he had this credential of SQF practitioner behind his name for several years at this other company, there were duties that he hadn't been given or necessarily worked on that an SQF practitioner as part of their job would do. And so this was a great opportunity for us to say, okay, well, myself as a certified practitioner, I can go through and mentor him and bring him up. And we used just the same, SQFI is great at providing the tools that you need to do so. They have a whole spreadsheet for that. So we're just using the same program as that for him.
That's awesome. Thanks. That's actually really good to hear. So just having a look down the side, there's a few more questions coming in. Just Kristie, there was some information that you wanted to provide, just FAQs really around the examination. So if we just pull that up, and I'll just have a look down these questions here as well, just to see if there's anything coming. So there are some questions around the format. So is there a class you can take before the 60-question multiple choice? We've interviewed a number of certified practitioners, and I'd throw this back to the panel, and actually, Pat, I'll get you to answer this one. The information we're getting is that if you are practicing this job and you know your stuff, you don't need to do anything more. What would your view be on that, Pat?
I think you want to go at it like you do anything else that's of importance. You want to make sure you're prepared. I mean, you're doing the work anyway, and that's very true. So you've got a good base. But I mean, at least when I took the test, I did take it seriously, and I didn't spend a copious amount of time studying, but I put enough into it that I was certainly confident going into the exam.
Nice, thank you, Katie. What was your experience?
I went forward with reviewing the self-assessment. I thought that was useful, and then I went through the entire code. My company is manufacturer of food packaging, so very specific. So I went through all of that from beginning to end just to make sure that it was all fresh in my head the day before the exam, just so. I mean, like you deal with it every day, like he was saying, but just I reread every little bit in case there was some part that wasn't fresh, that it would be there when I took the exam.
Nice, thank you. And so just like, if you had to sum up that exam experience in a sentence, and Brooke, I'm going to throw this one at you. So if you had to sum it up in one sentence, what would it be, and why does that resonate with you?
I felt like the test was really validating because I went through all of the materials provided by SQF for the pretest. Like I looked at the self-assessment, but I didn't do any special studying. I didn't really do anything. I thought about it and I was like, I think I'm going to get certified. And then I went through the steps and then I just did it. So it was great to know that I actually know what I think I know.
Look at you, Brooke, throwing out big SQF words like validate.
Gotta get them in there where we can.
I love it. All right. So Pat, the same question for you. What would be your phrase? Bonus points
Oh
for
boy.
SQF.
Well, I did like that word validate. I think it just, it's just a good proof that our customers can come into our warehouses, into our logistics company, and have confidence that we are doing what we say we're going to do. And getting the credential also demonstrates quite well our commitment to continuous improvement.
Awesome. Thank you. So Katie, I'm going to ask you the same question. What's that sentence or that phrase that would sum it up for you?
For the test itself, I found it very user-friendly. I am one of those, I don't know if you could call it a test nerd, but that's where I'm going with that, is I actually like to take free online certifications that relate to job function or personal interests. And then I kind of have an idea of companies I might want to work with in the future. And there's some you take the test one time and you won't go through them again just because things were too hard to navigate. And I found this one very easy to navigate. The questions were very straightforward. Nothing was confusing, no trick questions, nothing thrown at you so you would make a mistake. I mean, it was very honestly checking your knowledge. And that was also appreciated, but was very user-friendly, very easy to navigate the entire time.
That's awesome. Thanks, Katie. And I think that's the point. It isn't trying to catch anybody out or trip anybody up. It's a genuine assessment of knowledge that you have. So Missy, I'd like to ask you the same question. So if you had to sum up your the exam in one sentence, what would it be for you, and why would you describe it that way?
I would say it was a fair assessment of one's knowledge. To me, it was like checking, compliance. If you want to use the fancy SQ, our quality words. It wasn't trying to, go above or beyond. It was, do you know your job? Do you know the rules? Are you in compliance with what you should be in this position? And I would say, once again, like you've been saying, it wasn't trick. It was a fair assessment. It was fair questions. It was timed appropriately. It wasn't too much for the time frame involved, which is nice because there are always those that they crammed too much in too little time. No, I thought it was a good job. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're hearing fair, validating, user-friendly. These are great pieces of feedback. I'm just looking at some of the questions down the side, and one of the questions that's come up is around how much of this exam is specific to the code. So to clarify, this is focused on the practitioner. So this is around your knowledge of, microbiology risks or risk management and things, tools and base level understanding that you're familiar with. It's not super specific to a given code, because this is actually that whole section on the SQF practitioner and the SQF practitioner's knowledge. Kristie, would you like to expand on that as a concept?
Yes, and actually, I think Katie had a good, when we met before this, Katie had a good kind of anecdote about this. The credential is meant, again, you're supposed to be able to take this from job to job, so practitioner role to role, from site to site. So the questions are not specific. It's not testing about your knowledge about one particular industry. Think about the things that, the SQF code covers, around pest management, about risk management, risk assessment. So it's about that. And while we may use an example just to kind of center it within one industry, what Katie had said is, it allows you, go ahead, I'll let you use your example, Katie.
I had run into a few questions that were from a different industry than mine, but the way it was set up and the options that were given, you could still use your deductive reasoning from your knowledge of the code and answer it without problem. But it was not from personal experience because it was total out of my industry completely.
Awesome. And I think that picks up a really good point there, Katie, is that, you know, as professionals, you have deductive reasoning. This is part of what you do. You don't deal in the black and white. You deal in understanding, which is why this base level of knowledge is so important. And I just see a question go past asking as to whether this, you know, when we transition to SQF code 10, if we need to redo it. And so once again, it's not tied to the code. This is your base knowledge as a certified practitioner. So it's the prerequisites, risk management, general skills around deductive reasoning, you know, corrective and preventive actions. So these are things that are timeless, if you like, as opposed to, or evergreen, as opposed to tied to a version of the code. Okay. I just wanted to ask, just, you know, is there any examples that the panelists would like to share? And perhaps, Brooke, we'll start with you. Is there any examples you have for how the credentials helped you with a process or an audit or an outcome, or client relationships since you became certified that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. We have we have all kinds of things going on, including like our R&D team. They'll throw at me maybe 2 or 3 times a week, hey, we need you to send all this food safety stuff to this person. They're interested in working with us. And so I queue up, all right, we've got PCQI, we've got HACCP, we've got certified, we've got our most recent audit report, we've got our, you know, our overview. Being able to add the certification to me as the lead FQSA manager is something that our clients are really excited about.
Awesome, thank you. And Pat, would you have something to add to that?
Well, going through this certainly made me a better internal auditor. You know, I've got 11 buildings that I need to, that I'm responsible for. So going through and doing the internal audit and being thorough about it, and actually trying to audit kind of strictly makes our day-to-day operations just better. Everybody knows what's needed and what's expected of them, and all of that feeds into having really, really good SQF audit results at the end. Because like what I'd like to share with our folks is that it's not it's a 3-day audit, but it's not 3 days and now we go back to doing whatever it is that we want to do. This is the way that we are going to live our work lives, and this is the what we're expecting of ourselves. And you know, having this credential just gives some instant credibility with the folks that work alongside of me.
That's awesome, Pat. Thank you. And I think, Kristie, I'm just going to throw that back to you. I think you made a point earlier, which was around the ultimate aim here is actually the safe food. So if we just talk about, you know, the role of this certification within the big scheme of actually having food that's safe to eat.
Sure. I don't think I could say anything better than what Pat's already said. So I feel like tossing some of these back to you, Wendy. Wendy is the Practitioner of the Year awardee. So the ultimate goal of you know, of what we all do is safe food, and this is just one way for folks to demonstrate their role within that whole scheme. Yeah.
Okay, so just looking around, there's a question here around how many years of work experience as an SQF practitioner before you can become certified. Kristie, I think it's 2, but I'm going to ask you to just check that for me. And
I was just checking. Yeah, I was just checking. Great question, Lon. Great question. You know, it's more so about your knowledge and your skills, right? So I mean, you could get a lot within a short period of time, depending upon the role, I suppose. But I was just trying to see if we did put a minimum on that.
I had a feeling it was 2 years.
Yeah, I do feel so too. Do you guys remember?
I don't have it at hand, but again, what we've done is pop the link in there to the requirements.
Yes.
So there's a really nice requirements document that lays out everything that you would be expected to have to be successful. Because I think the key point here is that we want people to be successful. There's no tricks. There's nothing, you know, sneaky being done. Nobody's been put under the pump. It's a genuine way to demonstrate what you're doing, and user friendly, which was the term that Katie used.
I found
Okay.
it. I did find it in the criteria. So it's in the criteria document for the Certified SQF Practitioner. And again, the link's there. So it says 2 years of experience in food safety management or related roles within the industry at a site that maintains an SQF system or similar food safety standards, or 2 years experience leading or significantly contributing to the development of an SQF system or similar. So it is 2 years, you're right.
Awesome. Thanks for that. So just encouraging you, if you have any more questions, just to be popping those in the chat. We are pulling on those. I just want to take a minute now to talk about career aspirations and perhaps, opportunities to either for yourself or for others for new responsibilities. And I think, Brooke, you've talked briefly about the employee that you've brought on and how this then is helping you to grow that individual. I wondered if any of the other panelists had stories that they would like to share. So maybe Missy, if you don't mind, we'll throw that one over to you. So are there any doors opening, any promotions, new responsibilities or recognition that you've experienced?
I have received recognition from my new vice president. They sent me something in the mail and said, thanks, for, doing what you do. But also I'm in the process of applying to be a lead instructor for PCQI. So I've been told that this would be a very helpful certificate to have next to my name when I'm applying to do this. So I'm hoping it will help open that door for me, And like I said, I did receive like out of the blue a couple of contacts from recruiters for a position as a director that they wanted me to apply for, and some other stuff like that. I didn't, but it was nice to have the recognition, and like I said, the only thing difference on my LinkedIn profile was that. So thank you.
That's awesome. Thanks. So actually, I was just thinking, so Kristie, as we go through, what have we got here? We've got, no, the thought's gone, Kristie. I had a great thought and then it's disappeared. So I'm just going to ignore that. We're going to move on.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah, we just pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, we'll pretend that didn't happen. Alrighty, so surprise reward, unexpected benefit or something. So Katie, I'm going to throw this one back to you. So since you've got your credential, has there been any unexpected benefit, either personal or professional, that you have experienced?
I would say professionally, anytime I get a new certification, like I said, I kind of collect them. I send them to upper management just to say, hey, here's what I'm doing. And so it goes into my personnel file. And I got a lot of positive feedback from them seeing the certified practitioner, because at our facility, we're a smaller facility and I'm the SQF person. I handle all of it. And so, but that's kind of what I was, which is you're the SQF person. Now they're kind of proud to say, oh, we have a certified SQF practitioner. It gives them something to share with customers and suppliers. And also during my communications with these people, showing that I'm certified shows that I know what I'm asking. I have the background. So as a couple of, I think Missy and Brooke had both mentioned this at some point, that way people take you more seriously because you have this certification behind your name.
Nice, nice. And Brooke, I see you took your microphone off mute. Did you have something you wanted to share with us around these lines?
I'm sorry, me?
Yes.
Oh, no, I've just been off mute the whole time. I just, no.
All good. All good.
I think everybody summed it up really well.
That's lovely, thank you. And Kristie, I remembered what it was, which is the certified practitioners get to partake in the annual SQF update. And I understand that we're sort of targeting mid-September. Would you like to talk about that, what will be covered, and just encourage those that are perhaps just fence sitting that might like to get their certification done so they can join you for that event?
Yes. So as part of that's a great question, Wendy. As part of the the whole idea behind this is continuous improvement, right? So you're responsible for the continuous improvement of the food safety and quality, food safety at your site. So that would, lead to the continuous improvement of yourself, continually gaining that knowledge, that experience, that expertise. So that was a very critical part of developing this credential, was making sure that I mean, honestly, you guys are ahead of the curve in terms of making sure that you obtain this credential, but making sure that we made that official, or that it was an official part of the program, is the continuous knowledge, the continuous learning. So 45 hours of continuous professional development over 3 years. And we want you to demonstrate that year by year by creating a professional development plan. And there's a workbook that I put together. Any feedback on that, really, always feel free to share that with me. I have it all marked up and ready for a new version where we continuously improve our continuous improvement professional development journal. But so part of it is the continuing professional development. And finally, getting to what Wendy asked about, is there is a professional update. So we require this of our registered auditors, trainers, and consultants. And we decided that this is an important part of the certified SQF practitioner, is having that continuous and continual knowledge of the SQF program, right? So if you're going to be a certified SQF practitioner, we want to be sure that you're continually learning and growing in your knowledge of the SQF program as well. So there will be an online course focused on what's new with the SQF program right now. And I'm working on that right now. And so it's kind of like a bit of a timing thing, because we're still working on the SQF code for edition 10. So I don't want to put out this training before it includes the information about edition 10. So I'm aiming to have it ready about mid-September, whenever the new code is launched. And so it will incorporate information about edition 10. So giving you a little overview of what it's about, where there's been improvements, where new elements have been added. So that will be available mid-September, and specifically so that it can cover edition 10.
Thank you. We just have another couple of questions. So look, if there are any more questions, just encourage you to drop those into the chat, because we are sort of we have a little bit more time available, but we will start to wrap up. So what have we got? We've got the question regarding the annual conference. Does it count towards your continuing professional development hours? Yes, it does.
Yes.
And other food safety conferences, yes, they do. So, so Kristie's done a wonderful job there with the continuing professional development handbook. So I suggest that we get people to have a look at that, and it'll guide you in what you might be able to do. Okay, so just looking through the questions, I think we're probably starting to wrap up now. Just remember, for those of you watching on demand, you can email info@exemplarglobal.org and let us know if you have any more questions. We will get those answered for you. But before we wrap up, I'd just like to go back through each of the panelists and just ask you if there are anybody that's watched this either live or on demand who's thinking about becoming certified but got a little bit of anxiety about sitting the exam. What advice would you give them? So Pat, I'm going to kick off with you. What advice would you give them if they're just hanging back because they just don't want to do that next step?
Yeah, jump on in. I mean, yeah, it's a test, but I mean, again, you're doing the work every day anyway. And like somebody mentioned earlier, it's not specific to any one part of the code. It's general knowledge of food safety and quality issues. So, yeah, I needed a little bit of a push out at an S2. And when my auditor gave that little push to me, that encouragement, I just went for it.
Brilliant. Just went for it. Love it. Missy, what would your advice be to anyone that's just teetering?
I would say, it's knowing how to use the tools that you use every day, because you use pest control, you use deductive reasoning. You need to know about EMP and sanitation. It's, using those basic tools that you use every day and just answering a few questions. Like I said, I went on, ChatGPT and said, create a test regarding this specific, certification, and, and had them help me prepare some study materials and some questions. And, it wasn't exactly the same, of course, but it was certainly in the ballpark that it made me feel comfortable in my preparation.
Awesome, thank you. And Brooke, what would your advice be?
My advice would be to just follow the steps on the SQFI website. It's all laid out really, really well. If you go to the part where it says get certified, it has a whole plan of like, here are the exact steps that you need. Here's your study guide. Here's your this. Working with Exemplar Global is super easy. There's a link and I wasn't sure about how it worked. So I responded to the link. I'm like, hey guys, can we do this like at any time? They're like, yes, absolutely. So then I was prepared. And I knew that, it could just whenever I'm ready, I hit the button. So I feel like if you feel that you're ready, or even if you feel that you are just about ready, you're probably ready. Because a good practitioner, we always doubt ourselves and double check and second guess and make sure. But I have maybe 7 years in the food industry. Beyond that, there was just regular manufacturing. And so you don't have to be, super, super, super experienced. If you're a practitioner who's been doing it, you'll be fine.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Brooke. And Katie, what would you have to say?
Unfortunately, much of what I had to say was what Brooke said. It was basically follow the information that's on the website. Everything there leads you in the path that you need to go. So everything is available. You didn't have to go anywhere else to get the information necessary. So I really don't have much more to add. She pretty much covered what I would have said.
It's wonderful. So there we go. We have a consistent message. If you're doing this role, you'll have everything you need to sit the exam. No need to have anxiety. We understand we do that, but that's okay. Go for it. Kristie, any final words from you before we wrap up?
Oh my goodness. Thank you to all of you for joining. Again, let us know if you have any further questions. I think the whole point of the webinar here today was to encourage you to dive in. And I think our practitioners here encourage you to dive in, and we're really thrilled to be able to provide this to you. It's a way to demonstrate your expertise. And I hope that you do dive in and just give it a try.
Just go for it. Thank you, Kristie.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kristie, the co-host, and Pat, Missy, Brooke, Katie, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate that. This is quite a chunk out of your busy days. And thank you to everyone that joined us live and those of you that join later on demand. SQFI and Exemplar Global are looking forward to partnering with you in your journey to become your food safety career pathway. And we hope to see you soon as a certified SQF practitioner. Thank you, everyone.